This was my experience on Japan's oldest road, the Yamanobe no Michi.
Once we found the beginning of the trail, we started off on our trek for the day. The trail is marked with trail markers to help you find your way, however, there's so many side paths it can get a bit confusing. The one thing I noticed right away was how integrated the path was into the surrounding homes and urban areas. There were houses literally right off the path with the Shinto, shimenwa ropes hanging on their houses, and it just gave the whole area this very, spiritual feel to it. Also, throughout the whole path, there were these large rocks that had plaques with Japanese poems on them that were written by previous travelers, and it was really cool to be able to read about their connection to this space as we were experiencing it too. Our first stop was Byodoji Temple. This temple was tucked into a quiet corner of the mountain forest integrated with the nature. I seriously didn't see it until we were basically in it. It is said that Byodoji Temple used to be the temple of the Omiwa Shrine, but was destroyed a few hundred years ago during the anti-Buddhist period in Japan. Most of the important artifacts were moved to another location, but the temple was partially rebuilt. My favorite thing about this temple was how connected the modern and historical worlds were, as there was a modern day house right beside the temple's old bell tower, and you could see the monks' clothing hanging from this modern house's balcony, and I thought that was really cool to show the two overlapping worlds. Continuing on our walk through the forest, we made it to the very famous Omiwa Jinja Shrine, known to be one of the oldest shrines in Japan. The shrine is so old that it predates the custom of having a main worship hall, so the worship is directed to the mountain that's behind the temple itself, Mount Miwa. Mount Miwa is thought to be the embodiment of Okuninushi, the deity of land cultivation and the guardian of human life, looking after the curing of diseases and medicine manufacturing. If you continue on the cobblestone path, you pass by an extremely rare triple torii gate of the Hibara Jinja Shrine. This is an auxiliary shrine of the Omiwa Jinja, which is also worshipping Mount Miwa, but it has a specific focus on Amaterasu, the sun goddess. This actually ended up being my favorite place on the trail because there's a small rest stop where an elderly woman is selling fresh produce, green tea, wind chimes, and more. We ended up stopping for some home-cooked tea and cake and enjoyed a very peaceful, serene lunch. Being able to stop and fully soak in the moment helped me appreciate why past monks and religious followers would come to these mountains for worship and meditation, because the environment and the spirit of the farmers cultivating their land kind of gives you a sense of hope and inspiration to cultivate the things that you care about as well. After recharging at the rest stop, we continued our walk through the forest, stopping to appreciate the Garden Memorial Hall and view of the giant torii on the Miwa Myojin path. We followed some side paths in search of some more poem rocks and slowly made our way out of the mountains and into Farmer's Field, nestled between the peaks. This was an incredible view with the fall leaves changing colors to the orange-yellow fruits that were also being collected in the fields. I spent way too much money stopping at every farmer's booth set up that was selling fresh produce. This again just helped me feel more connected to past travelers, as these booth style of selling goods was likely brought back from hundreds of years, and being able to enjoy the same foods and walk the same path made me feel that much more connected to the cultivation kami that a lot of these temples and shrines are worshipping in the area. Now, the part I was the most excited to see was the large Kofun burial site of Emperor Keiko and Shujin. I have taken 2 Japanese history courses and done extensive research into Kofuns, but nothing could have prepared me for how huge these burial mounds were in person. These mounds look like small mountain-shaped islands with lush greenery and trees that starkly contrast with the flattened ground surrounding them, in addition to some of them having moats. There were many Kofuns in this area, but I would like to focus on my favorite, Emperor Shujin's. Emperor Shujin was the 10th emperor of Japan and founded the Yamagimoto Imperial Court. He established the royal state through military affairs, rituals, and domestic politics. His actual Kofun, the key-shaped burial mound, is pretty huge in comparison to most other ones constructed during this time. His Kofun is actually referenced in the Kojiki and the Nihon Shokai, the first ever written records of Japanese history, and therefore is considered to be one of the oldest Kofuns. Today, these historical sites are blocked off to the public but can be admired from afar, and admire I did. This is the thing I was the most excited to see, and I truly have no words to describe how incredible of an experience it was to see them up close. Unfortunately, by this time the sun had set, so that had to be the end of our exploring for today, but I would highly recommend going back and exploring the other historical sites, temples, and shrines that this path has to offer.